My name is Kate. I live just south of Boston, and I have cystic fibrosis. I was born in 1985 with meconium ileus, so I had surgery when I was a day old. And at that time, there was no genetic testing at all, so they tested me through a sweat test. And it was a complete surprise to my parents. My dad didn't even know what cystic fibrosis was. And at that time, my parents were told that I probably would not make it much past the age of 18. My routine changed throughout the years, both as a result of kind of the changing disease, but also in terms of new treatments available. So when I was very little, I was taking enzymes at meals, and I was doing oral antibiotics, things like that. My parents were doing chest PT on me twice a day, and they were like very religious about it. You know, one time I remember my mom was on the phone with my grandmother on Christmas, and my mom was talking on the phone while doing chest PT, as she often did. And my grandmother said, "Can't you give her a day off on Christmas?" And my mom's like, "Do you not brush your teeth on Christmas? Like, this is just what we do." When I was 16, I transitioned to the vest. And the current vest, you know, it does what it needs to do, but it's heavy. I am a small person. I am 4'11". It's not exactly easy to move around. You know, I have a 2-year-old niece who I enjoy seeing on the weekends, either down at my mom's or I go up there, and if I sleep over, it's just like another thing to take with me. I live on the 3rd floor, there's no elevator. So it's a lot. If I'm on a plane, like putting in an overhead compartment is always a thing. One time I was supervising a 5th grade field trip, and they stayed over at the Boston Science Museum overnight. And I stayed overnight with them. In the morning when I was doing it, the kids were fascinated, and they took like 1-minute turns on it because they were like really into it. But other people at the museum thought I was part of an exhibit because I had this thing and I was like in the space part, and they thought it was like some like astronaut thing. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So I'm on Trikafta. I was in the trials, and then I continued. And I continue to do all of my nebulizers and vest and everything just because that's where my lungs are at. You know, even if you're not producing the same kind of mucus that you used to, there is lung damage, and there's still a need for me to clear a lot of those things. And certainly my lungs are much happier than they used to be. BreatheStrong Plus is, it has a fun kind of community on there. People I know from other organizations are also on BreatheStrong Plus. And yeah, they had these giveaways. And I saw that there was an AffloVest is light enough that somebody my size can actually handle it. Not only just carrying it, but just like wearing it and everything. And you start thinking about things that travel stuff, obviously, but also things like, oh wow, I could do this on my morning commute to work and not have to wake up quite as early in the morning, which is always a thing for me. I mean, balancing getting enough sleep is another big difficulty because it's literally a scheduling thing between nebulizers and then getting to bed at a certain time and then waking up that much earlier than you know all of your coworkers wake up to get to school. I worked in the school to get there at the same time or even later than anybody else. Like if I'm at a rehearsal or something late at night, and instead of waiting and just using that time for other things and then coming home and having to do all the stuff later, I can just bring it along with me, and just while other people are doing their thing, just do my treatment. And it's one less thing that I have to do when I get home, which is just super nice. I think people who don't have chronic illness think, well, there's health insurance, and that just kind of covers everything. And they don't think about not only premiums and co-pays and the parking at visits. There's a lot of costs that I have that other people do not. Programs like this are really helpful for me because it's just kind of one less thing to worry about. So yeah, so this has been really fantastic.